We're going to do a quick and easy wall patch. We had to cut out an 8-inch square hole to run these electric cables to the electrical panel underneath. So we have the original sheetrock, which is right here. We've got paint mixing sticks. You can use furring strips. Basically, furring strips are just thin sheets of wood. And the key here is that they're the right length to go inside the hole. We're going to put 2 of these inside the hole, and we're going to fit the sheetrock directly on top of this wood. And you need an electric screwdriver. And you'll also need some short screws. These are countersunk. You see the head. When you screw these into the sheetrock here, they'll go below the surface and they'll be nice and flat. You won't see them. So basically, we're going to take this paint mixing stick, put one here, screw it in here at the ends, another one up here screwed in the ends, and put the sheetrock right on top. Grab your paint mixing sticks, and using your little short screws and the electric screwdriver, just use this screw to drill a hole right into the wood. As you see here, you want to do it at one end and then at the other end. And the reason for that is you want to pre-drill the hole, so that way when you put this behind the sheetrock in the wall, then you can start running the screws through the sheetrock and they'll bite into the holes here and catch the wood. We already have one end of the mixing stick with the hole drilled out, put behind the sheetrock. And we ran the screw right through the sheetrock into that hole. Now we have to hold this side down from behind with our fingers and run this screw right into the wood, holding it tight with your fingers out of the way so you don't get a hole punched in your finger from the sharp screw. So we'll attach the second screw in place. We've got the second screw in place. So one of the wood strips, paint mixing sticks, is in. Now we got to do the same thing for the top over here. We've got our second strip in place. Now we just put in the last screw. All the screws in place. Now let's go fit the sheetrock back on. And we'll have to put screws to the sheetrock to go into the wood here. No big deal. The original sheetrock fits just fine, but we're going to run a screwdriver or a putty or knife tool in here to open up this gap a little more. We want a slightly wider gap so that way we can put the joint compound and force it into this crack here, so to help seal and stick down the sheetrock. And we do that for all these surfaces. And then before we apply the joint compound, we're going to put screws 1, 2, 3, 4 into the wood to hold the sheetrock in place. All screws are in place. You might want to check and make sure that the sheetrock that was just screwed in is nice and flat, or preferably even below the surface of the sheetrock that's originally rounded. And that way when you put the mud in place and smooth it over, it'll be a nice surface, and when you sand it, everything will be nice and even. We apply the thin layer of spackling first to the screw holes and then to the seams where the sheetrock meets the rest of the wall. Got everything nice and smooth, and we're just waiting for this to dry. And when it dries, this brand is going to turn color and it'll be just white, and we'll sand it up.